Hey, hero! Check this out. It's an artifact from the former United States of America.
Oh, I didn't know you collected American memorabilia.
Yeah, I purchased it when I went to visit the neutral zone.
Hey everyone, Buster Green here. Please subscribe. So, this is my second video in the Connecting series, where I draw absurd connections between two very similar media properties. Now, my last one about the Squid Game and the Prisoner did not do so hot, so for this second one, I'm going to try things out a little bit differently and not go so grim-dark with it right off the bat. But fuck it, that being said, today I have to prove that The Man in High Castle and Big Hero 6 take place in the same universe, which is actually a really dark fan theory me and a few of my friends came up with. Now, I was originally going to do this video in chronological order, but that didn't quite flow right, so instead I'm just going to start off by talking about Big Hero 6. Now, Big Hero 6 is a super happy, multicultural Disney bastardization of a Marvel comic intended for Asian audiences. Now, Big Hero 6, the comic, was pretty much a D-rank Marvel team made up of all the stereotypical Asian hero characters in the Marvel Comics universe that were not really being used properly, so they just threw them together, added some original characters to draw in the lineup, and it had some pretty cool dark comics where they fought ghosts and stuff. Unfortunately, instead of throwing it into the MCU where it could have been really cool and they could have fought Thanos, Disney decided to single it out for bastardization. In the same way that everyone was super worried that they bastardized Marvel from the start, they replaced the invincible super robot Baymax with a super huggable, super cute Baymax who gets drunk when his batteries run out. And kind of setting a path for the way they later bastardized Star Wars, they bastardized Big Hero 6. Now, despite being bastardized and dumbed down, Big Hero 6 for Disney was a pretty general decent kind of family movie around the general Disney tropes of a significant family death, with pretty much all the typical Disney tropes you'd expect, but also superheroes. Yay! Now, there was also a shortly lived 3-season TV spin-off, which had some even more interesting dark twists, including a few deaths and a savage mutant girlfriend, but the darkest twist of Big Hero 6 is the one hiding in plain sight that no one ever talks about.
Welcome home, hero. Hey, what's that thing?
Oh, Honey Lemon got it for me from the neutral zone.
You know, you've never been on a trip outside the Japanese Pacific States before.
Oh, I never had a reason to.
Well, maybe it's time you go visit the Greater Germanic Reich.
So instead of situating Big Hero 6 in the MCU, it for some reason takes place in an alternate universe in the strange fictional city of San Fransokyo, which by all accounts is San Francisco, California, except extremely gentrified by Japanese people, who also have slightly more advanced technology than we do in the present day. Now, taking this at face value, it's just aesthetically cool, but the more you think about it, the stranger it looks. Why would San Francisco be extremely gentrified and converted stylistically into a Japanese-style city? It's almost like perhaps San Francisco was colonized by Japanese people. Or should I say rather, invaded. See, the secret of San Fransokyo is very clear if you've ever read Phillip K. Dick's novel, The Man in High Castle, in which the United States lost World War II to Japan and Germany, and was split down the middle the way that America and the Soviet Union split down the middle Germany and Korea. So therefore, for this video, I am now proposing a connected timeline where The Man in High Castle leads to Big Hero 6. Hey guys, I'm going on a trip to visit the Science Center in New York City. Does anyone want to come with me?
Hero, you know black people aren't exactly welcome in the Reich.
Well, I've never actually been to the Reich, so I actually don't know a lot about what goes on over there.
Hero, the Reich is full of Nazi white supremacists who rule over the eastern states and have a policy of exterminating black people on sight. So I can't go there. I'll be killed.
So here's the connected timeline. By all accounts, the Man in High Castle universe diverges from the Prime universe on account of the assassination of Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933 by Giuseppe Sangares. This was a real event that I was unaware of because it occurred 100 years ago, but this incident occurred on the night of February 15th while President Roosevelt was making a casual public appearance in Miami, Florida. Giuseppe Sangares was a physically deformed Italian immigrant who lived in constant severe pain from an untreated gallbladder infection. He purchased a 6-bullet revolver with the intention of killing a capitalist president, and Giuseppe had been a marksman in the Italian army as a teenager, so he knew his way around the gun and was pretty likely to kill Roosevelt. Unfortunately, his age and his deformity impacted him in such a way that the main reason he failed this assassination attempt was just because the guy was too short and he couldn't strain himself out to get a clear shot in. So, incapable of getting a clear shot at Roosevelt, Giuseppe fired 6 shots from his revolver. 1 missed entirely, and the other 5 hit various spectators who took the shot for Roosevelt. Now, considering Roosevelt played such a significant role in history in terms of us winning World War II, the what if Giuseppe had not missed theory is a major branching off point for many fictional universes, including this one. Now, in The Man in High Castle, without FDR, the USA never pulls itself out of the Great Depression and remains poor, demoralized, and economically weak heading into the events of World War II. Although, in my personal opinion, what I think is the really critical swing off point for the timeline is that the alternate Third Reich increased their focus on scientific accomplishment. And in doing so, their willingness to advance scientifically made them keep important scientists employed as slaves in their property capacity as scientists, rather than executing them or allowing them to defect to America like what happened in the real world. Now, with the United States weakened, it turned out the deeper isolationism and the lack of resources just led to America not supporting the United Kingdom or the Soviet Union as World War II kicked off in the early 1940s. And meanwhile, with a slightly technologically stronger Germany, they were able to overcome the Soviet Union, forcing the Soviet Union into a surrender. With the Soviets defeated, Germany could focus its full offense on the United Kingdom, leading to the United Kingdom being intensely carpet-bombed as they were in the main timeline, but with greater focus, frequency, and volume. This greater frequency on carpet bombing leads to the death of Winston Churchill and ultimately the country's surrender. With Germany cleaning up its control of Europe, the Japanese Empire meanwhile wages war on the Pacific Front. They attacked Pearl Harbor as planned, but with a significantly demoralized USA that puts up no strong fight, they fully invade Pearl Harbor and conquer Hawaii. They also conquer Australia and eventually most of the Pacific Ring of Fire. America puts a full-scale effort into recapturing Hawaii after that and managed to do it once, but they continue getting their ass handed to them by a rapidly expanding Japanese empire, and the Japanese retake Hawaii again and then completely capture the American western coastal states. The Nazis, meanwhile, seeing the United States weaken but not giving up, want to finalize the war and therefore complete the first atomic bomb with their captured scientists. They dropped the first atomic bomb on Washington, D.C. on December 11, 1945, instantly wiping out the overly centralized American government. And so that ends World War II in a bitter defeat for the United States of America. Nazis invade and quickly take control of the eastern side of the country, establishing a capital in New York City and making that a part of the greater Nazi Reich, while Japan establishes its own colony country in the west, the Japanese Pacific States of America, with its capital of San Francisco. Resistance fighters put up a strong disruption to these events, but in about 2 years, the majority of them have been executed or gone into hiding. A third lawless, undesirable neutral zone area is established in the middle of the country along the Rocky Mountains for everyone who does not want to live with Nazis or Japanese in charge. On top of all that, there was also the Holocaust. Now, we know in real life the Holocaust was an absolute nightmare that lasted for 4 years, killing a total of 6 million Jews, homosexuals, gypsies, and other handicapped individuals all throughout Europe. However, in this universe, Germany never loses, America never liberates the camps, and the Holocaust goes completely unchecked for decades, leading to an absolute total extermination of Jews in Europe and Russia, but then it keeps on going to fully exterminate all of the Africans in Africa, as well as a large number of African Americans in the United States who are not able to evacuate to the western states in time. Now, The Man in High Castle was written and set in 1962, approximately 20 years after the conclusion of the war in both worlds. Now, whereas the real world had a Cold War between the massive Soviet Union and its burgeoning influence against the powerful United States, the Man in High Castle universe sees an extremely similar situation playing out, where the Cold War still occurs, only it occurs between the massive empire of Japan and the powerful and brutal Nazi Reich. Now, it examines the daily lives of various characters, their past lives as American citizens, and the grim realities they now face in their current situations, living as a conquered people. Now, there was an Amazon show based on this book. The Amazon show was a little convoluted at times, but honestly, it was the best Amazon show ever made until The Boys came out. And it hit very close to home when it came out, considering the rise in Nazism that kind of happened in America recently. Anyway, now, minor spoilers ahead for The Man in High Castle. Now, the book and the TV show, despite being the best exploration of what if we lost World War II as a concept, the actual main point of the show/book is an exploration of multiverse alternate timeline theory. And at the end of the show, the main characters visit an alternate universe where America won World War II, but it's not actually our universe that wins World War II. In the book, the America that wins World War II is a world that ultimately gets horrifically ruled over by a horrifically evil global British Empire. So I guess the world that won World War II in The Man in High Castle is actually the world where Code Geass happened. Anyway, the book, The Cold War Between Japan and Germany, is kind of inconclusive, and there's never a break in the stalemate. The book just ends with both countries maintaining their status quo. The show, however, ends with Japan eventually realizing that they can't really rule over an unwilling American population. It's too problematic, and at the same time, Germany descends into chaos due to infighting, a series of assassinations between the ruling Nazis, and these events happening at all at the same time allow America to resurge, albeit with serious damage done, and the majority of the global Jewish and Black and handicapped population just having been straight up genocided by Nazis being in control for 20 years. Now, the show ending is kind of a half-hearted Deus Ex Machina happy ending that comes out of nowhere, and by all accounts, they didn't really earn it. I really don't think that a global Nazi empire would just fall apart over a few assassinations, nor would the Japanese just decide to surrender for no reason at the same time. I just want to say I hated this ending, and I think they threw it together because they got canceled. Anyway, back to Big Hero 6. To get Big Hero 6 and San Fransokyo out of The Man in High Castle, you have to go with the book continuity and keep the Japanese Pacific States of America running. They have to run to at least the 1990s, since San Fran was already the capital of the Japanese Pacific States. All you really need is one cool Japan campaign to retitle it into San Fransokyo, because synergy, you know? And by the 1990s, I do think that enough work will have been done to thoroughly gentrify the region into a Japanese-style region, but at the same time, in a modern-day, seemingly exhausted Japanese empire, this empire I could see surrendering control back to the people in the way that the modernly irrelevant British Empire surrendered Hong Kong to China at about the same time for just the similar political reasons. Anyway, this theory leaves some pretty ominous and haunting questions over the otherwise squeaky clean Disney property. Thanks for agreeing to come with me to the Reich, Fred. Yeah, whatever.
Our scanners have indicated you're of Jewish ancestry in the Reich. This is grounds for immediate termination. Hiro Hamada, your passport is cleared. Please enjoy your stay in the Reich.
What? How could you do this?
Sorry for the mess. Someone will clean it up shortly.
So, what did you guys think? Did America lose World War II in the Big Hero 6 universe? And is the reason that they never leave California in that show because they don't want to encounter the Nazis that rule over the rest of the country? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. If you've seen either of these series and you also buy into this connected universe theory, please give me your own spin on it, because it's horrifying. Anyway, thanks. Please subscribe. I'm out of here. Check you guys later.